Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt, joined now by Dr. Michael Oren, former Israeli ambassador to the United States, former deputy minister in the Netanyahu government 2 governments ago, author of a spectacular new essay in The Atlantic, The Many Holocausts, which I've tweeted out. But this morning I want to talk to Dr. Oren about the Middle East peace plan, which was released. He has long urged it be released. It has finally been released. Dr. Oren, good morning. What do you think?
Good morning, Hugh. I think many things. First of all, a personal note. I've been following this process since I was a young advisor to Yitzhak Rabin back in the early 90s. So I have perspective. And I will tell you without reservation, this is the only peace plan I have seen in all those years that actually reflects reality. All the other peace plans were wishful thinking. Yeah, the Palestinians are going to have a government that's actually going to be elected and is going to be uncorrupt. I mean, Abu Mazen is now in the 16th year of his 4-year term. And Palestinian leaders have stolen billions of dollars in foreign aid and millions of dollars of American aid from their own people. I mean, who's going to run this country? Who's going to defend the country? We're going to give the Palestinians the right to the ability to defend themselves and defend us. They'll fall apart in a day. So there's all this wishful thinking that Israel was going to rip up the homes of tens of thousands of Israelis, that we would redivide Jerusalem. Really, fantasy. This is the one agreement that is actually grounded in reality. And it's a tough reality, but a reality. And that is why the Arab states, for the first time, Bahrain, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, and we hope the Saudis will be on board with this.
It seemed to me that Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and at least one other, maybe Oman, were at least modestly warm. UAE, Bahrain, very supportive. And that does put considerable pressure on the Palestinians, does it not, to at least counteroffer?
No, they won't. Listen, they have not come to the negotiating table since the British, for the first time, offered them a 2-state solution in 1937. The UN, 1947, Bill Clinton, George Bush. Who didn't offer them a 2-state solution? 8 years under the most pro-Palestinian president of all time, Barack Obama, nothing. Never came to the negotiating table. They walked away. So they're not going to come to this one either. But does it matter that much if the Saudis are on board, the Arab world is on board, and the majority of Israelis have embraced this plan, left, right, up and down? It's amazing. So this is a tremendous opportunity, I believe, and I hope we can move on it.
What does that mean, Michael Oren? Move on it. Does that mean annex those portions which are called to be annexed in the plan, concede those portions which are called to be conceded, and call for investment in the Palestinian Authority on the scale that is provided for in the Trump plan?
Well, I would recommend that Israel holds off on annexing right now, and I was glad to see that we actually are doing that. Apparently, under some urging from the Trump administration, we are doing it because we want to get the Saudis on board first. Why chase them away? And once the Saudis are on board, we can get that $50 billion in investment in the Palestinian society, as well as in Jordan and Egypt, and get everyone a buy-in, show that there actually is a dividend to peace. And, then we could begin the process of actually, building a Palestinian state. It's not what the Palestinians want territorially. It's not what they want in terms of the extent of their sovereignty. There's a price to be paid for saying no for about the last 90 years. And maybe they can get themselves a genuinely elected and uncorrupt leadership. So that's a process that begins first between Israel and the Arab world.
So two-part question, Michael Oren. Is Trump's peace plan a win for him, and is it a win for Netanyahu in the elections that loom in March?
Well, it gave Netanyahu a little bit of a bump in the polls. He went up 1 seat. Now he's either 1 or 2 seats behind Benny Gantz. At the end of the day, it doesn't really going to matter much because the actual size of the bloc, the right-wing blocs and the center-left blocs, have remained exactly the same. It's a dead heat. As for whether it helps President Trump, I think you're a better expert of that than I am. I would have preferred a different timing of the rollout, but there's never an ideal timing for this. I don't want anybody to distract from or anything to detract from the quality of the actual plan, which is many pages long, serious work. And I must say I've had a certain role in it going through, and I'm proud of what's come out of it.
181 pages. Are there any flashpoints, any particular neighborhoods, any settlements that go one way or the other that might derail an otherwise calm assessment of its value, its merits?
Well, I think there's a provision there for a territorial swap. Now, this is interesting, Hugh. No one's ever talked about the concessions Israel made in this. Everyone's saying, it's pro-Israel, pro-Israel. Israel made some very important concessions. Palestinian state, virtually everybody in the Israeli political spectrum, certainly from center-right, is against the Palestinian state, and Israel agreed to it. But Israel also agreed to the notion of territorial swaps. This was an Obama-era notion that in return for annexing parts of the West Bank that were heavily populated by Israelis, Israel would give up parts of sovereign Israel to the Palestinians. And Israel never agreed to this. This, for the first time, has been agreed on. It's in this agreement, and it includes the provision or the transfer, if you will, of large segments of territory to the Palestinians in the southern Negev desert along the Egyptian border. So that's an extraordinary concession on the part of Israel. It's a major incentive for the Palestinians. It may prove controversial here.
But it is a beginning. Dr. Michael Oren, follow him on Twitter at Dr. Michael Oren.